What's up, guys? Welcome to the Put 'em Up podcast. We're back with another little episode for you. We've got our good friend of the pod in again. We've got Ain't Afraid of Nuttin Dutton back in.
Glad to be back.
Yeah. So today, guys, we're just going to have a bit of a general chit chat. We're going to talk a bit about boxing, of course. We're going to talk a bit about UFC and mixed martial arts. And so I'm going to start us off, Dutz, with something that you actually sent me. You sent me a picture, and I'll get it up on the screen. I'll send it to the main man, Jacob, for him to put that in there. But it was a sports, wasn't it? It was sports and how much the fighters get paid.
Oh, yeah.
So Bellator's paying it is it a 50% rate compared to what they make on the pay-per-view? So they're taking 50% of the profits themselves, giving 50% out.
Can't remember the exact percentage off the top of my head.
It was about 40-something
percent.
percent. Anyway, the UFC came in at the bottom at 16%. So this has been a hot topic over recent forever really, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So I want to talk about, I've been a big advocate of, I think UFC is going to take over boxing at some point. I think this could be the anchor, this whole payment thing. Essentially, we're still getting the best in the business. Everyone still wants to fight for the UFC. Do you think, I know you disagree with me and you can give your opinion in a second, but I think that maybe once the payment side gets sorted, that it's going to flourish even more and it's going to excel because it's not even 30 years old yet, the UFC. So, for me, where it's at now, being a multi-billion-pound business, if they get that sort of pay structure and make the fighters even happier, you're just going to get bigger, better fights and stuff like that. So, tell me what you think of my statement of the UFC is going to sort of overshadow boxing, in my opinion, at the rate that it's going.
I don't know if I agree with that because I just don't think that. Well, how do you quantify it anyway? And if you could say fans, but then you get people which are just like they don't really watch it, but they participate, or they participate and don't watch or whatever. So it's just, I don't think it'll happen personally. I think that I feel that I agree with you about the money. Yeah, that's going to hold people back because you've got like Francis Ngannou who's moaning about the wage already. And I know he said that he wants to, he initially wanted to be a boxer anyway and got involved with MMA. So that'll probably happen at some point down the line, you'd imagine anyway. But I feel like, so he's heavyweight champion, isn't he?
Yeah.
And then if you look at the amount of money which you've got like Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, Anthony Joshua making on the boxing side of things.
What, 20, 30 million?
Yeah, at least.
Well,
wasn't it 70 million for Joshua Klitschko? That is ridiculous. And how much is Ngannou making as a title fight now?
I think the last time I checked his purse, it was about, $1 million. Well, I don't know how much he got for this recent one, but I seen one not too long ago, a couple fights ago, where he got like 350k for fighting, 350k for winning. That wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, I think the issue is actually having the UFC as the UFC. I think they should scrap that. And I know it's a hard one to say, but just have MMA as a whole. How boxing isn't like matchroom boxing and it's always matchroom and they're just paying everyone. I think MMA should get rid of the UFC and then just have all of Bellator and Pride still a thing.
No.
Well, yeah. Whatever
one championship. That's how.
Exactly. Yeah. Do that, and then the fighters could also Then you could have different promotions which promote them. I know that's kind of how it is, but so for example, you could promote yourself, go down the Floyd Mayweather route. Yeah. Now Canelo. So if you build yourself to be such a big name like McGregor is, he could have easily promoted himself and made even more money than what the UFC were giving.
Let me just interrupt you there a minute and give you what I think the problem with that is. The problem is if they just did a big whatever, is you're going to have, in my opinion, what I see in boxing as the belt problem. There's too many belts. I think that's a problem for people that want to try and keep up with it because they'll go, oh, this person's an IBO champion, this person's a WBO champion. Whereas in the UFC now, they recognise that, and most fans will recognise that as if you're the heavyweight champion of the UFC, you are the best heavyweight champion mixed martial artist. So essentially they will always recognize that over Bellator, one championship and anything below that, because essentially UFC is the premiership, you know, and that's, you know, everyone wants to be in it really. You know, I know you can fight in Bellator and you get good money, and people have gone to Bellator in the past to make the money, because the other thing is what you were saying about, you know, sponsorship, right? So the UFC is now sponsored by Venom, the clothing. So they'll get a certain amount. I think it's about 40 grand. But they used to...
Well, a fighter does.
Yeah, the fighters get like 40 grand, depending on who it is, obviously.
Yeah.
And they are also sponsored. They've got another sponsor now, like cryptocurrency. So they're obviously going to get more. So they might get another 40 grand for wearing that. But what used to happen is each fighter would, as you probably saw, would have certain things over the shorts, certain things.
Yeah.
How, in my opinion, it should be. Because they were making a lot more money, because it's like, I want to put my brand on your t-shirt during fight week. So when they're doing embedded and they're doing the fight week, so every single day you see them walking around a t-shirt and they've got whatever on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they used to have it on the trunks and they'd say where it was. And they'd say, we'll give you this much and we want it on this part of you. Because some people, so if they've got to say the thin shorts, they'd want it to be, depending on who the fighter is, say on the butt. Because when they're on the ground and you can see their arse in the air and it says, do you know what I mean? Or when you see them, you know, from different camera angles. You know, one of the most famous one was that joe.co.uk. I don't know if you know who they are, but they were they got put on the back of McGregor's shorts on his arse.
Oh, right.
Now you see that all the time. People are going to go and check it out. What the hell's Joe? And you go on it and, oh, right. That's, you know, smart marketing. Sometimes they can't afford it, so they just have a little thing down there. It might be fucking a drink, you know, or say, for example, like, Powerade. But, you know, I know they've got a lot of money, but just as an example, they might just have it on the shorts. Yeah. You're an up-and-coming business, you know, you're wearing Boxer. They might have had that now. Obviously, back then they won't have, you know, and they probably won't in UFC. But, you know, I'm just using an example as an up-and-coming company. So my problem with that is, my problem sort of with boxing is the belts. There's just too many. If you just make 2 belts, maybe, if that, because then everyone's got to fight everyone. And that's the thing in the UFC. Francis Ngannou can't hide from anyone. He can't dodge anyone. Whereas if UFC didn't exist, he'd be like, I don't really want to fight him. I want to fight this guy over here because it's my mandatory. Or I've got to fight for the Bellator belt.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with you. I feel like they are starting to push that together a bit more, but I know that things do slip through the ropes. Like you've had Amir Khan and Kell Brook for God knows how long, which has never happened, probably never will now. Yeah. Like, and even if it does, would you really want to watch it now? Yeah. But yeah, it generates a lot of money having different belts. So then you can say you're a champion, you're the world champion, that title. You're giving more people the chance for a dream of being a world champion. And then you've also got the undisputed, which is kind of different gravy, innit? I know what you're saying, as in like you want everyone's the best to fight the best and there's no hiding. And I agree with that 100%. I'd like that to happen. I don't think it'll ever happen in boxing again, unfortunately, because of the amount of money that, like, I'm pretty sure fighters have to pay for the registration into the different, like, WBA, WBC, IBF, IBO and all that, which is an issue in itself if you're a low-level fighter. But then, obviously, if you become a champion, then you're getting paid by them as well for winning. So you get winning bonuses from the different organisations.
Why can't they come together and just make one and just charge more, maybe?
Because you've got different
heads. That just holds it back.
It does, but like then you've also got like Dana White, who's basically stopping it, like anything else coming in. And like McGregor at one point wanted to have shares or something, didn't he, in UFC a long time ago?
Yeah, there was all sorts.
But he didn't let that happen through his own greed, I'd say. Because,
well, if it's a public company, then it's up to him, isn't it?
Well, yeah.
Because now I'm pretty sure it's a public company. Recently, it's gone public.
Right.
So, but it was bought out by the people that own the Major League Baseball and something else. Because all of them are actually owned by a company. It's a sports company. I can't remember the name. But I just think the model of UFC is excelling at a very fast rate. The only thing that's holding the anchor on UFC is the pay. And certain people, like John Jones wanted, apparently, again, don't know how true it is because you know what it's like, the media, 30 million to fight Francis Ngannou. I think that's fair because it would generate so much money. And he was going to fight him at heavyweight. He's putting his life on the line because Francis Ngannou is an absolute killer. Yeah. But also, everyone puts their life on the line by going in the ring, in the cage. Yeah. But essentially, you've got Francis Ngannou now, who's an absolute megastar, and you've got John Jones, who's arguably the GOAT. And you want them to fight, and it's not going to happen because they want what they think they're worth, which in my opinion, they both are. They both should be paid 30 million, 20 million, whatever, because it'll make probably 100 million. So you're still going to have 40 million for the UFC. And then you're going to have all the other fights that draw it in. So you can put on an undercard. You can put another title fight.
Everyone will want to fight on that undercard as well.
Yeah, of course they do. And that's why people always want to get on a McGregor card because the pay-per-view, because they get a small percentage. And they're going, it's going to be, But something like that would be a massive pay-per-view because it's two big people fighting. And we love it. As human beings, we love fighting. Yeah. And the bigger, the better. And it's always been that way. You're always going to tune in to the big boys. I know Mayweather's been one of the most successful, again, arguably the GOAT, but you're always going to tune in if they were both aligned and it was a Mayweather fight or a Mike Tyson fight, I can tell you who most people are going to tune into.
Yeah. Do you want to see the knockout?
That's the way we are. But I just think, again, speaking on what you said about the knockout, that there's more finishes in UFC, and that's what I feel that boxing, for me, is lacking like a big character, like a McGregor or even Khabib doesn't talk much, but he's in a weird way he's a character that everybody loves because he's so
mysterious,
cold.
Isn't he?
He's mysterious and he's cold, and I think people love the fact that he's just come out of the mountains.
Yeah, wrestling bears.
He's wrestling bears, but he's quite a quiet guy, really, and he comes in and he just gets the job done.
It's like Golovkin, though. Similar character, I'd say.
Yeah.
Such a polite
great
bloke,
character. But for the most part, for me, is I want to see more characters in boxing. And I think also onto that is because of how the belts are, I'm not tuning as much unless it's an AJ, a Wilder, a Fury, a Canelo.
But then, so what's your opinion on that then? Because obviously you tune in for an AJ and a Fury. They're both champions in their own right. So do you feel like because they're fighting for that an undisputed title, obviously that could change with Fury fighting Wilder prior to Joshua and whatnot, getting together. But do you think, I think for the general public, thinking two champions are fighting each other to become undisputed is quite appealing.
It's marketing.
Hey?
Marketing, innit? That's how they have to market it.
But then do you feel like that's more positive than the UFC having one champion and then you've just got a contender, like the next person in line?
But you're always getting people coming through with the UFC.
But then you are with boxing as well.
True.
Under every organisation.
But that's what I mean. But I want to see AJ fight Fury. I don't know if it's going to happen. I want to see AJ also fight Deontay Wilder.
Yeah. Probably won't happen if he loses again.
Francis Ngannou's going to fought Stipe the first time, lost. I was like, wow. Then he fought him again. I was just as excited. Knocked him out. Fighting Cyril Gane next. Stand-up fighter. I want to see it. From Liverpool, Tom Aspinall coming up. Yes, he's fighting on the 4th, but he has got all the ability to become a champion. Don't get me wrong, he's probably 1.5, 2 years out, depending on how many knockouts he gets or whatever finishes, performances. But in boxing, I want to see them fights, and I don't know if it's going to happen because of belts and all these laws and rules.
But then haven't they just introduced this, what's this belt which like Cyril Gane and
the interim
title,
which is shit.
So how does that affect
I'm not really a fan, and most of the fighters don't recognise it, and they'll just be like, whatever, it's not the proper belt. Yeah. Most of them will just be like,
that's the same in boxing though.
Yeah,
like you've had Dillian White, which has been next in line for a title fight in forever, and I don't think he's actually had that world title chance yet for about 5 years. But now they're introducing it in the UFC. Yeah, do you think that's a money thing or?
Yeah, I don't know what
because
the
you're
reason
saying
is.
like marketing. She's saying that they're the interim champion.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a tough one, isn't it? I mean, look, we're gonna get more. I want to get more people in on this, and I want to talk further with you. I think that's sort of. I think the way is the way to look at it is you're a massive boxing fan, and boxing's always going to thrive, and so is UFC. I just think that the way boxing's going, I just want to see more. I want to get more into it, and I am trying. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to just be that big fight guy, which there's nothing wrong with, but I want to see boxing thrive, and I want to see it. But I just want to see the best fights. That's the top and bottom of it, and I'm getting that from the UFC, and I don't feel I'm getting that from boxing.
At
They're
every
sort
level?
of my maybe not every level, but like I said, I want to see the big boys go head to head, and it doesn't seem. Don't get me wrong, I'm happy that Usyk is fighting AJ. I think that'll be a good fight. Be interested to see where it's at. But yeah, essentially, I just want to see the best fight the best. So my final thoughts on it are, I just hope we get to see them fights. And like I say, we'll invite more people in and we can have a massive debate. But if there's any final thoughts you want to give on it.
No, I completely agree with you, to be fair. Like, I want to see the same with boxing. And yeah, I think you're right. Like, everyone wants to see the best fights. Obviously, you don't get them at every level because the levels aren't the same.
Yeah.
And there's people coming through different stages of their career. But
And you miss them at the primes. And I get that. But yeah, no, I just hope at some point we can see the best fight the best in boxing. And I do, obviously, like I've been banging on about, yes, I'm a casual, but I do enjoy boxing. I love the sweet science. I love, I do really enjoy boxing. So yeah, we'll definitely get a few more in, and we'll have a few beers, and it'll get tasty, and we'll see where we're at. But that's just a little episode for you guys. I hope you enjoyed our little debate. Like I say, you know who you are, and I'm definitely up for getting some more people that are into boxing and some more UFC fans and or MMA fans, and we'll have it out. So hope you enjoyed that one, guys. This has been the Put 'em Up podcast. See you later.